everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking Marvel. I am your host, Alan, Mr. Amazing, Alan Awesome, joined always by Jason the Diamond Harris.
What's up, world? How you guys doing?
Oh, what a week! We got a new episode of Moon Knight.
The
Very,
tools.
very, very good episode of Moon Knight. And we finally, the streak is over. The record is officially been broken, but the streak is over. We finally got a teaser trailer for Thor Love and Thunder. And we will definitely be talking about that later on. But first, it is time to talk about episode 4 of Moon Knight. And what an episode that was. So far, every television show that has been on Disney Plus, episode 4 has been crazy. And it continues on. What did you think of this episode?
For me, it was the most action-packed one. Like a lot
Yeah.
happened in this episode. And Layla really stepped up. She's definitely trying to get for a top Marvel regular at this point because she goes hard.
Yeah, she has a thing for flares. We know that. We'll get more into that later, but she is proven to be a badass. Or so we think. But we'll get
Yeah.
back into that later.
She was definitely holding her own.
Yeah, so let's break down all the episode 4s of so far. So WandaVision's episode 4 of WandaVision showed and had like the Monica episode. We found out she got blipped. We found out her mom died. We found out how she got into the hex. That was episode 4 of WandaVision. Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 4 was when Walker killed the dude in the statue with the shield. That was a pretty big turning point. Loki's episode 4 brought the Nexus event, and it introduced us to the Void, Eliath, and Gator Loki. And obviously, episode 4 of What If was the Doctor Strange episode, which we'll see in just 2 weeks in Multiverse of Madness. And Hawkeye introduced us once again to Yelena. Now, episode 4, Moon Knight, also very crazy.
Yeah, it's like they get to the mid, and that's when the episodes get to the midpoint, and that's when shit really starts to pop off.
Yes, big time. So we see in the beginning all the gods that have been banished and put in statues. That's a lot. There's some sketchy shit happening.
I was actually wondering if it was other gods, maybe from other pantheons that may be locked up in there, or is it just the Egyptian ones? That's the thing that glared in my mind. Like,
that's a good point. That's a good point. So last episode, the gods were talking about how like they don't trust humans because of somebody else. I had a theory that person that really effed things up for every other god was a variant of King. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And that's kind of how they might introduce this variant of King. Because King was, I want to say like Ramatut or something.
Ramatut, yeah.
Ramatut.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think Arthur Harrow isn't really the big bad guy in this. I think we might see like a part of Ramatut.
You think so?
Yes, now that I'm seeing like all these like gods banished, and there's some sketchy shit happening with like the Ennead, but I don't know. I think we might see a hint. I mean, we saw a hint of Kang Ramatut in last episode where the one kid I got it wrong. I thought it was Mark that was wearing the coat, but it was the kid that like cut his tie off and like fell down. He was wearing the symbol for Ramatut. So
it could be. I didn't even think about that. That's a good theory.
Yeah, this is. I like watched this episode a few times, and I just was just going through everything in my head. Yeah, so we see all the gods. We see the opening of the actual episode, we see Layla and Mark trying to get out of there, getting attacked by two guys in a car with the guns, and there's just stray bullets in the back, and she just lights a flare, and everything is all fine for them. Those bullets were going all over the place. You're not telling me you didn't get hit once? Whatever.
Well, she's pretty lucky. That's why Khonshu wants her to be the real Avatar and not Mark. She's a little lucky,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So they're making their way to the tomb. They finally get to the tomb. Everything's abandoned, and they see a random goat just chilling. What's with this goat? This is now the second time we've heard about a damn goat. Because
Well,
in
them
like
horns keep popping up, don't they?
not yet,
I'm
but
telling you,
like
they're hitting hard.
big time, and they're gonna fuck us all over again. It's just gonna be WandaVision all over again. But like, I don't know. This random goat. He was up on a perch. Like, where the hell did you come from, bro? Like, and
They did
Mark,
name drop sorcerers too. I mean, not
yes,
name drop, but they did mention sorcerers. I also was
yes,
wondering again, do they just mean Egyptian sorcerers, or are
right,
they talking about sorcerers in general? Like, do they
right,
have something to do with Kamar-Taj? And like,
yeah.
I'm making all these connections as Easter eggs. They're just dropping.
They're teasing us big time. They're teasing us big time. But we see a little awkward kiss between Stephen Grant and Layla. Bruh,
Yo, Mark
read
was pissed.
read the room, Steven. Read the room. Oh my god, that was hilarious. They're like about to go into the pyramid and he goes, boom. Oh I love it. Hilarious.
Like,
So
if you touch her, I'll throw us off a
yeah,
cliff.
I'll throw us off a cliff. That was
That was
hilarious.
awesome. That was awesome.
But yep, so they get in there and they discover that they're in a maze. I don't know how you discovered that you were in a maze just by drawing the eye of Osiris. Like, that was weird. But
Yeah, I was wondering how they made that connection too
yeah,
as they were doing it.
yeah, I was like, okay, I'm running with it just because I'm interested. And then dude, this episode was scary. It
Yeah, it
was
was a little
scary.
dark. It was a little
I
dark.
I jumped a bunch. I'm not big into horror, but like this show got me a little bit. The Egyptian like zombie prince, the
Yeah, the ones
clicking,
dissecting people. Yeah,
yeah. Marvel got like gory in this series. The
yeah.
dissecting of the guy, like, oh, the sound was so gross. Oh my god, very, very unlike Marvel to do that, but I like it.
Like I'm open.
Which
I'm open to
it's
it.
kind of setting up like maybe they can do a rated R Deadpool in the MCU
Yeah.
and just like tone it down a little bit.
I think they're definitely dipping their toe in the water. They're testing.
Oh
They're
yeah, because
seeing how far they can push it.
especially in this series, because I think I've heard shit dropped more times than I've heard in any Marvel anythings.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're amping it up a little bit. Yeah, he had like the clicking was weird. Like, so I guess like in embalming, they take the tongues out, so that's why he was like doing that. So it was clicking. He was like using sonar like a bat. So it was just creepy. I loved it though. Loved it, but it was just creepy. But hey, he gets in a fight with Layla, and how does Layla kill him?
With a flare.
With flares.
It's her
Pull,
go-to weapon. Everyone's got a go-to weapon.
pulled it right out of her ass. I was like, holy shit. Okay. Yes. So then we see the whole scene with Layla and Arthur Harrow, and some truth was spit that night.
I knew he had something. He had to have something to do with her father. Like they had to have some kind of connection. In the comics, it's more like blatant what their connection is, but I knew it was going to kind of be changed because everything's changed once it goes to the MCU filter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I definitely knew there's going to be some kind of connection that was going to be held.
Yeah. Yep. You kind of had a feeling that, like, obviously, I still don't think he killed her father, but like, Mark definitely was there. Ooh, that actually is a good point. So maybe Mark didn't kill her father, but maybe the third personality killed her father.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. So, do we think I saw it? So, in the episode, I think it was episode 1, where he looks at the phone. Steven finds the phone and he sees the name Ducamp. Maybe that was Mark's partner who might have killed Layla's father, Richie Ducamp.
I was thinking they were going to make it Hera, but that is a good point. Maybe they were going to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's going to happen.
Because that's one name that hasn't been said in that show so far is Ducamp. And you're like, who the hell is... They're probably like, oh, they're going to forget about this. Nope. I remember it. Ducamp. Who the is that? All right, look more in the notes. There's a lot of Shakespeare references in this.
Yeah.
Lots of Shakespeare. Which is cool. Because I don't know. I really like Ethan Hawke's Arthur Hara character. Like
he's definitely like one of those villains that makes you ask, is he really the bad guy, or is he kind of have a point? It didn't start out like that in the beginning because he like sucked the life out of an old lady, but
right.
The further it got into the show, that's kind of what it's starting to do for him now.
Yeah, like maybe he's telling the truth a little bit. Like I said, there's probably a bigger bad guy in this. But yeah, like he's so calm, and like calm people like that are just even more dangerous. It's just because they'll kill anybody and not even care. What else is going on as I'm looking in the notes? All right, so we are led to Alexander the Great's tomb, where they have to find I forgot what it's called.
Voice of Amat.
Yes, the little stone where he finds the stone statue is in the mouth of Alexander the Great.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, the way this episode was going, I really thought like the thing was gonna bite his hand off, just because
it did look like it was just
I was like, well, we already had the zombie prince attack Layla in like the little mountain area, try to pull her through. Crazy, she gets pulled in twice. It was still freaky as hell.
It did look like the Mr. Mummy was about to get up.
Yep.
It looked like
boom.
that for a minute.
I was like, oh my god, please don't come to life. And then Arthur Harrow once again shows up after being confronted by Layla. Mark admitted to her that he was in fact there when her father was killed, but he said that he did not kill her. And then Arthur Harrow shows up and shoots him. Do you know how many times?
Guess where he didn't, though.
Yes. So Arthur Harrow shoots Mark Spector twice. And my little thing is he shot him for each personality that Arthur Harrow knows of. So he shot Mark and then he shot Steven.
Okay.
So then a brilliant filmography of just the cinematography of him falling into the water and then just like seeing it's like shallow, but then it's just like him floating through. But did you notice there was no more bullet holes when he was going down?
Mm-hmm.
No more bullet holes. And then we see a scene from an old movie, but not an old made-up movie, obviously, called Tomb Busters. And like when I was watching it for the first time, I was like, what am I watching?
What happened?
What happened?
Like I was trying to make connections in my head. I'm like, well, maybe this is Arthur Harrow, like when he was younger or something, because the guy had long hair. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening.
Like I'm like looking on my computer. I'm like, did this switch to something weird for like accident or something? I'm like, is this still Moonlight? And then he said Stephen Grant, and I was like, what? What is going on? So then we zoom out, and we are in an insane asylum with everybody we've seen in this show so far, everyone. The guy that was the golden street performer was there reading off the most like crazy bingo numbers ever. No numbers are like that in bingo. B22 does not exist.
E16.
Like T16, there's no T. That was weird. And then we see Donna from the shop holding one of the scarabs. There's a lot of clues. Gus was in there. Somebody was drawing a hummingbird, but like in the shape of Khonshu. A lot. And
it just took that turn where I've seen so many shows that do this is not really happening. You're in an insane asylum approach that I knew what was happening. I was just like hoping that wasn't what it was. But it's cute that they put that spin on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that they didn't do that, they did this now and not the 6th episode, makes it me to believe that, like, well, what is real?
Mm-hmm.
Which is real? Is this us like a dream in his head, or because he's just like knocked out, kind of, or is he like in an insane asylum?
I think they're doing the thing where it's gonna be like he's kind of in between life and death. Because I'm thinking that hippo goddess that they met at the end must have something to do with them being in between life and death right now. Because I don't think Khonshu's gonna let him go because he still has an agreement with him. So I think he can get hurt, but I don't think he can really die yet because of his connection to Khonshu.
I think what is really going on is, and we got to go back to episode 1 where he's talking to that little girl about how mummies are like put in there, like they take the guts out and they just leave the heart, and it's like them trying to cross the field of reeds. Maybe this whole thing was Mark or Steven trying to cross the field of reeds. Maybe he's already been dead and this is his body and soul trying to like cross the field of reeds. Because another thing in episode 1 was those brooms. I feel like, and they zoomed in on him for quite a little bit to be like, hey, remember these goddamn brooms? Like maybe that's like a metaphorical passing through the reeds, so his body and his soul can finally rest.
Yeah.
This is just another test to get through the field of reeds. Because the girl was like, did it suck when you weren't able to go through the field of reeds? And he's like, well, I mean, you'd have to be dead to do that, and I'm not dead, am I? And he's like, am I? So there's a lot of scenarios where like I think he actually might be already dead, and this is just him thinking about it in his mind, like maybe he is in the insane asylum. But
or
then
maybe
again,
he's been through this before, and because he died before, and maybe. But then it's a sound theory.
It's a very sound theory. But then again, like maybe the insane asylum is fake, because obviously like the rooms are like shifting. There's sarcophaguses in there, like so he finally escapes Arthur Harrow after having a little talk about him. He realizes that Arthur shot him twice and that like Steven is all there. So he goes and escapes, and he sees this big tomb, and he sees it like shaking, and he opens it up, and there's Stephen Grant. And it was just so awesome how like Oscar Isaac is like interacting with like another Oscar Isaac.
I loved it. They made it look really convincing.
Yeah, so convincing. And then they're walking out of that room, and we see a third big tomb shaking, but they did not open it.
That's that third personality.
That's that third personality, who I think is Jake Lockley. So Jake Lockley is still in that tomb. I'm sure he'll probably be opened up next episode, because as they're walking down the hall, we see this big figure walking up to this big door, and you see like this big shadow, and you're like, who in the hell is this? And it's
Hmm.
a fucking hippo, Tourette. That freaks me out. I was like, oh my god, what? And then she's like, hi,
I
and
know, with a
it
really light
ends.
girly voice.
Yeah, it's like, what? Like, what in the hell is this all about? So she is the goddess of fertility and childbirth, which doesn't really apply to this, I guess.
I'm
But
trying to figure out how.
yeah, we're trying to figure out how. Apparently, she's credited for the last 2 episodes, so this was not the. Well, we're gonna see her probably quite prominently in the next 2 episodes, which is nuts. So obviously, she's playing a very important role. But we just don't know yet. Maybe she's the one that tells them about Jake, and then, hey, we got to go find Jake, and then this is how we release Khonshu, and this is how we get out.
Yeah, maybe telling him about how he got these other personalities to begin with, because she's childbirth, so these personalities had to come from somewhere.
Hmm.
I don't know. He's got some answers for us.
Maybe she's about to spit some truth like Charles Xavier in 2 weeks. Spit some
Oh, I'm
truth.
waiting. I'm waiting.
Yep. Well, when we get closer to that, we'll do like a whole like prediction episode or something.
Definitely.
But all right, and that was the end of episode 4 of Moon Knights. 2 more left. Quite a shame. I really don't want it to end.
We'll see if it gets another season. It should. If not a season,
Oh yeah.
definitely a movie. 'Cause I definitely want to know more at this point.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's so much more I want to know. So now let's finally talk about it. Thor, Love and Thunder, a like minute and a half teaser. Perfect, by the way. Perfect. Thoughts.
I
What are your
watched that
thoughts?
trailer so many times. I
So
was
many
so
times.
happy. It was so weird. We had just mentioned it too, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, here's the trailer.
It was funny. Like
We got the word out. They were listening
I'm like
to
scrolling on Facebook
us.
and like literally like I'm like scrolling and it's like Thor Love and Thunder trailer. I was like, wait, what? And then like Hillary texted me and she's like, the trailer's out. And I was like, all right, let's watch this. And it was just glorious. Great song
Trailer was
choice.
awesome. Yeah,
Great.
definitely. They're really taking their notes from James Gunn, I think. Like, James Gunn really got the good music introduced to the MCU. He definitely brought the good music. And they are keeping it going. Ragnarok kept it going, and now they're keeping it going this one.
Speaking of James Gunn, he keeps showing pictures of like on set of like Guardians 3. And they're filming the holiday
The
special.
holiday special, yeah, I keep hearing about it
Which
too.
I heard he said the holiday special is gonna be incredible. And James, I'll follow James Gunn anywhere. His shit is so good. The Suicide Squad was a hell of a lot
It's an
better
awesome
than
movie.
the
It's an
first
awesome
Suicide
movie.
Squad.
Definitely.
Peacemaker was gold. Peacemaker was incredible.
Good
Incredible.
stuff. Very good.
And I'm like, I cannot wait for the holiday special for Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians 3. Adam Warlock.
Yes. I'm very excited
Yes,
about that as well.
but like, you're a little late, bro. Like, the Infinity Saga is over.
Over.
Like, you were a key part in that, and you weren't even nowhere to be seen. But all right, back to Thor. We see Thor running like Forrest Gump through all of his ages. I guess the little kid might actually be Chris Hemsworth's actual kid,
His son?
his son.
He probably got him into it because he said his son's favorite superhero is Superman. So he's like, let's
Yep.
change that.
Yeah, let's change it. You want to be in my movie, kid? Yeah, I think that was him running. I like how like the second stage of him running was like the complete costume from the comics. Love it. Love it. And then Thor now. He's like all zen now. What was him burying Stormbreaker like?
I don't know. I just think that he's just trying to like. I think he saw. I think he felt, whatever, how he was at Endgame, and when he had to chop Thanos' head off, and he was just like, I don't want to be that Thor. I don't want to be this angry, whatever. But I kind of think he's running away from his responsibilities too.
Yeah, I think he wants to just do nothing, not fight
Yeah,
anymore. I gotta
yeah.
say, I
I think it's
hate.
definitely some PTSD.
Oh, you'd have to of all going through all that shit. I do hate that he's not fat anymore. I liked Fat Thor. That was like a cosplay costume I probably could have gotten behind real quick.
He took his mother's advice and he ate a salad. He just called it a day. He's like, I
he
can't be like this no more.
I love how like New Asgard is kind of like a tourist attraction, and is like he had like the hat that said Mightiest Avengers or Earth's Mightiest Avengers, but he scratched it out and said Strongest Avenger. Hilarious. So he's like working out with these big ass chains, and we see this giant ass skeleton. Thoughts on who that might be?
It's likely that dragon. Oh,
So the one where when he's working out with the chains and there's this giant like skeleton with a big ass head, like all like in chains. I think that's a Watcher,
really?
like Umbatu, like the Watcher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
because the Watchers can like take shape of like because they have to watch the whole freaking universe, so they can grow really big.
yeah, Watu
I
has a big ass head, so
He does have
yeah,
a
I
big
feel where
ass
you're
head.
going.
I think somebody got Umbatu and destroyed him. But I also like how we see Farragar, the behemoth, in that just dead with like blood.
Mm-hmm.
They took that straight from the comics, and it's beautiful. So they they didn't introduce him, but they didn't have to, which is good because you don't need to see Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah,
But you know that like he is
he's the villain.
the big
Oh
villain in
yeah,
this. I like
played by Christian Bale.
the Batman. So he has that sword. What is it? Dark or
The Necro Sword.
yeah, Dark the Necro sword.
Mm-hmm.
He's very powerful. He kills gods because gods did not help him. They did not answer his prayers when his home planet was destroyed, killing his wife and his kids when he was off planet. So he's on a mission to kill all gods, and it's looking like we shouldn't really get too attached to Zeus. That's what I'm
Yeah, I
saying.
saw the lightning bolt. So I knew what they were hitting at once I
I
saw that.
I think it's finally confirmed that Russell Crowe is Zeus, playing in Zeus.
Mhm.
Like I said, I think that like might be like one of the opening scenes where like Gore just like kills him.
And it makes sense because Hercules is definitely one of the mainstay in the Avengers, so they
Mm-hmm.
got to introduce other pantheons.
Mm-hmm.
And they already started with Moon Knight, so why not introduce
Oh
the
yeah.
Olympians at this point, right?
Oh yeah. I'm trying to figure out what else is happening.
I love that we find. I love that they saw or showed a little peek at the end of how Jane Foster's gonna look.
Yeah, she looks ripped. I think Thor. It looks like in one of the scenes, Thor is back on Sakaar, and I think he's there for a reason.
Maybe that's the part where they're reenacting it, like how they did in the beginning of Ragnarok.
I don't know. I think he's recruiting somebody. Somebody
What do you think?
that was just foreshadowed in Ragnarok just by a
Think
simple
Beta Ray?
snatch.
Beta Ray?
Beta Ray, but Bill,
I thought
because
that too.
I think they did in the trailer what Spider-Man No Way Home did in the trailer is like when you just see like Tom Holland Spider-Man land on the Statue of Liberty and there's like nobody next to him, but in the movie obviously it was Andrew and Toby. I think this one when they're zooming out and it's Thor, Korg, and then just like an open space right here. It's definitely not Jane. It has to be Beta Ray Bill.
Could be.
I'm just
Who
saying.
knows?
And
Wait to see.
I feel like they couldn't. Obviously, I think we're gonna get another trailer within like 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, definitely some longer.
Because I feel like
More
it definitely
in-depth,
has to be longer
slightly.
and to add more things to it, just because they have to be waiting for Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness to come out.
Yeah, because this was definitely just a teaser, so they're probably gonna wait for that movie to drop for any big hints, just like they did with No Way Home.
Yeah. So yeah, at the end we see Jane grab the hammer. How the hell is that hammer put back together?
That's what I thought, but I think that after sometime after Ragnarok, its pieces were probably found and they probably ended up on New Asgard.
So
And
if you think
she
about
has to go there for some reason.
If you think about it, if you couldn't lift the hammer in its form, what makes you think that you're going to lift the pieces? So pretty much when she crushed the hammer, they just stayed there and nobody could lift them up to clean them up. So that's why they built that whole thing around it.
Okay.
So
maybe she goes to the site for some
reason. Yeah, so there is like a little leak where behind the scenes where you see like Natalie Portman behind the scenes like getting like going like this in a rig.
I saw that a couple months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been out for a while.
That's probably when it happened.
Yeah, I think she like discovers that like New Asgard is kind of like this tourist thing and she wants to go see what's it about. And then she like the ether, the cosmic radiation from the ether from the Thor Dark World is probably still in her a little bit, and like it like attracts Mjolnir, and it's just that's how it gets formed and it comes back.
Could be.
But yeah,
I'm wondering if they're really going to go the comics storyline part too, where she had cancer.
I think
I
they
hope
are.
so. I think they would do. I think that would give the movie more emotional depth if they showed her journey like that.
I actually think she all but confirmed that they were going with the cancer direction for the movie, because you kind of have to.
Yeah.
Like now you can officially kill her off. You can't just be like, oh, Natalie Portman's just gone.
Yeah.
But yeah. Thor, Love and Thunder.
That trailer is awesome. I've watched it multiple times at this point.
still says it's coming out in July.
Yeah, July 8th. They're not pushing it back. They can't push it back.
We'll see.
Put out Doctor Strange and then give us more.
Yeah, put out Doctor Strange, then give us Miss Marvel. Then it will be Thor Love and Thunder. Then what else is after that? Secret Invasion's coming out.
Yeah, that's supposed to be a show that hopefully drops, because I don't think they really have any more movies planned after Thor.
No,
not for this year anyway.
Not for this year. I think the next ones we can think of are probably like Ant-Man and Quantumania.
Yeah, I don't even think that comes out until July of next year, 2023.
Yeah, I'm liking the shows though. I really am.
The shows are definitely good. They're pulling me in. Moon Knight really reminded me of the kind of the early Netflix Marvel shows.
Yes.
Definitely like the fighting choreography and the action. Definitely reminded me of those.
And how it's getting darker. But yeah, but with that, we will all bid you a farewell, and we will see you next week on Talking Marvel.
Thank you guys for tuning in for us, and we will see you soon.
See you soon, guys. Bye.